Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed, online and at the cinema. From the kids who have Battle-Royale their way to the top, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Ezra.
I'm Helena.
And I'm Matty. Folks, we took a little bit of a break, but that's because it's episode 50. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
There's 50 of these episodes. How about that for a slice of
lot
fried
of
gold?
Yeah.
That's a solid couple of handfuls.
That's like 2 seasons of Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah.
Very nearly. Well, actually, a little bit more than that.
It's like 2 episodes of it's like 2 episodes of TNG.
Yeah.
2 episodes.
It's like 2 episodes of
seasons,
TNG.
Yeah,
it's like almost 2 seasons of Supernatural.
In the first season of Next Generation, the episodes do indeed feel that long. This is true.
Yes. Well, you know.
Oh, gross. The 50th episode of TOS, is Turnabout Intruder, which is like the absolute worst episode ever.
Okay, well, we'll just pick something else. We'll pick a different joke to make.
I was gonna say, well, ours is gonna be better than that. Our 50th will be better than that, probably. Yeah. So that's good.
I hope so.
That's good news. Also, we've been doing this for 2 years. We already kind of did a 2-year anniversary thing, but I don't know. They kind of happened at the same time, so I was like, throw it in there. Talk about a wild fucking ride.
Yeah.
Talk about a couple of years that have happened in our lives, also.
We have menaced each other with a lot of weird gifts.
We've been ruining Google Docs since 2018.
I'm just thinking about 2 years of Helena's Google Doc crimes.
2019. Yes.
I was looking at some of them the other day, fondly.
Yeah.
God, I'm so glad that they're preserved on the cloud for posterity.
Brief rundown, Helena. What are your top 3 favorite Google Doc crimes that you've done?
Well, the ones that come to mind instantly were I post a sexy picture. One picture of Stanley Tucci playing Captain Hook. I can't remember what episode that was from. But
I also can't remember.
I do like one we talk about heists, and I found a picture from The Sting, a screen cap from The Sting, where Robert Redford is doing the nose thing that Gay Perry does in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and I lost my entire fucking mind. Like,
that's the other one that was supposed to go on my list.
I think the same one, I think we talked about the Rotten Tomatoes challenge. That's why this came up.
Yeah.
I found a lot of good pictures of Hugh Grant with mustaches.
That is, there was a collection. There was a rogues gallery of Hugh Grants. I remember that.
Hugh Grant is, in fact, the hero and the entire rogues gallery, and the love interest in every single role he's played collectively. Yeah. Just a few
I'm a big fan of when you created the Google Doc, and the title was a YouTube link. And it was a link to the Boys of Summer for some reason. I think it was for our last Lord of the Rings episode, maybe?
Yeah, it was. I was just trying to find... Well, let's see now.
Yeah, can you find the Google Doc where the title of the Google Doc is a YouTube link?
All of my Lord of the Rings, I say, because you unfortunately granted me the power to create all of the Google Docs for all the Lord of the Rings Hot Girl Summer episodes. So that was like the last one. The first one, I think, the first one was Hot Girl Summer Boys, like Lord of the Rings Summer. I was just like, playing it safe. And then the next one was Gondor Boys Are Undeniable. I lost kind of some inspiration towards the end there.
Immediately went off the path into some new territory with that.
Yeah, there was a lot of the titular Speed Racer, of course. In an episode that had nothing really to do with Speed Racer. You know, we have fun here. No. Or I have fun, and then I create misery for others.
This one was entitled Hawaii Five-0 Theme Plays Remixed with the Sneople Theme, so if anybody wants to do that for us, just let me know. Let me know if you end up doing that for fun.
I'm a particular fan, before we move on, also of one of our more pared down episodes, the Intricate Rituals one, where the beginning is just the intro, and we start talking to each other in, in Google, and Matty says, hang on, I'm starting a Discord call so we don't have type our conversations in Wookiee like animals, and then I responded, could animals do this? And posted one of the fake Lord of the Rings subtitles from Two Towers, was just this golem saying, my name's Sneople. So, you know.
Yeah, there's a screenshot of that floating around on the Sneople Twitter, I think, or on mine. Mm-hmm. Because I just remember sitting here. Just remember fucking sitting here and you doing that. I just fucking lost it.
We've evolved since then. We've grown slightly.
I know, that was such an early episode. I remember where I was when I posted that episode because I had to get the editing done early. And I posted it while I was working Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
God, remember cons?
Yeah, remember when I used to work those? Anyway, I'm fine. Yeah, what a 2 years it's been. And we still have conversations in the Google Doc like animals. For this episode, we kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, and it's gonna be a more personal episode, I would say. We're gonna do kind of a dive into, like, the movies that made us movie people, and, like, talk about what that means to us. I have a very specific memory of, the time I decided that I was going to start studying movies. Like, I don't have a lot of very specific memories because my memory is shit. But I remember that very specifically, and I don't know, we'll just talk about, like, why movies, I guess. And then hopefully get to talk about, like, what 2 years of Sneople has, like, been like for us. Like, what, you know. I mean, I guess when we started this project, I remember, like, we were like, yeah, you know, we'll keep doing this as long as we can. We'll just kind of truck through. And then 1 year passed, and I was like, we did it for a year. That's cool. 2 years passed, and it's like, that's not a small amount of time to be doing a thing on the regular.
That's really not.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's kind of, we'll start with what we sneeped and then kind of meander away from there, I guess.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to start? Who wants to start?
Sure.
Okay. I did basically all rewatches. Some of them were movies I had only seen, like, once, or I hadn't seen in a long time, so they were, like, technically rewatches, but it was kind of like watching it for the first time. So I rewatched Raven, 2012, which is a, like, thriller mystery, kind of, but it's pretty, I wouldn't say it's horror, but it's pretty gory. The idea is it takes place in the last days of Edgar Allan Poe's life, and there is a serial killer who is recreating deaths from his stories. And Mr. Poe teams up with the cops, unfortunately, to kind of track down the killer. Fun romp. Enjoyed the movie. I think I went into it being like, man, I saw this when I was like 19. This movie probably isn't very good. And I was like, you know, it was pretty fun though. I like enjoyed it and would watch it again. So there's that. Rewatched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I hadn't seen since I was a kid. Fucking incredible movie. Better than I remember it. Nice. Funnier now that I'm an adult. It's what a fucking masterpiece.
It's so excited to rewatch that.
And especially now looking at it from the perspective of an adult who's like, the animated things aren't there, so the humans are acting at nothing. They're not even acting at, like, a CGI guy in, like, a suit. No. They're just acting at nothing.
Like, maybe incredible. A tennis ball if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. I rewatched Constantine with Keanu Reeves, which is it a good movie? I don't know. Does it whip? Yeah, it whips real hard. Rewatched New Hope because I was in a mood and I was like, I want to watch a Star Wars. And I decided that I haven't rewatched all of Star Wars just kind of like in a row in a long time. So that's going to be my fun little project where I'm just dicking around and I'm like, I don't know what I want to watch. I'm going to just kind of make my way through Star Wars again.
Fuck yeah.
Starting with New Hope. Leigh and I watched that and we were like, man, this movie's real fucking good, huh? Yeah, it's real good. And then last night, Z, Leigh, and I rewatched Pacific Rim, which is another movie that whips. I I feel like I watched something else, but I've been thinking about it for hours, and I can't remember what it is, so I think I'm just making it up. I've been reading Dresden Files books, playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, watching a lot of Secret Sleepover Society. That's kind of been what I'm doing. That's been what I'm doing. That's the phrase. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that applies to all of us, I think. We've been doing what we're doing. And it's a lot. It's a lot to do.
Mm-hmm. Boy, it's a lot to do.
Life. Z, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure, I can go. I also rewatched a fair amount of stuff. I rewatched Pacific Rim, which, like, you know, that movie is just, like, it really does hold up how, you know, just, like, blindingly fucking fun and cool it is. But it also... It's very much also a Guillermo del Toro movie, because,
yes.
Leia and I rewatched Crimson Peak earlier this week because we just were like, I could use some gothic romance, and it's nice that the most sexualized person in that movie is Tom Hiddleston. You know,
not Bern Gorman.
No. Another movie that has both Bern Gorman and Charlie Hunnam, actually, I just realized.
Right.
No, that is... I didn't make that
what a weird coincidence.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro is just doing it for all of us.
Back at it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
He seems like one of those directors who knows who like he has actors who have like a certain kind of vibe or are capable of like doing a certain kind of vibe. Yeah. And he's just
Ron Perlman is not in Crimson
need.
Peak, but he could have been.
He absolutely could have been.
I think what Guillermo del Toro did is that he saw me when I was like 12 watching Torchwood, where Torchwood's thesis was like, what if Bern Gorman was like, what if we said he was hot and having sex with all?
Yeah, what if Bern Gorman just had an amazing ability to get people to have sex with him?
Yeah, and I said to that show, amazing thesis, please continue. And Guillermo del Toro said, I like that thesis, and I like that you were bold enough to follow that thesis. I'm going to put him in all my movies. And I said, thank you. I've stopped watching Torchwood now because it was not a very good show, but I appreciate you. And that's where we're at.
For carrying on its terrific legacy.
Yes. I'll stop interrupting you in a second, but I did watch the season 4 finale of Doctor Who the other day, where they do the crossover with all the different shows, and it's like Jack and Yanto and Gwen and Owen and Tosh are like freshly dead. They're just like not there. And I was like, I refuse
to admit that they made anything like I just like every time when I think of Torchwood now, I very much refuse to admit anything happened after, like, the series proper, but I also sort of just, like, refuse to admit that anybody died on Torchwood.
Yeah, it's a good policy.
It's fine,
yeah,
don't worry
is
about
alive and well and thriving.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enough lies.
God. So rewatched Crimson Peak, which just... Yeah, it's really fun to see movies that have a strong directorial sensibility where you don't feel like them having a strong directorial sensibility probably just ended in them being a shit show to work on. It's like, no, this is just an artistic vision that is strongly, strong and well executed and does not give off the vibe that the director is an enormous asshat. or movies that are just sort of studio maintenanced within an inch of their lives. Part of me wants to watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, and another part of me is like, don't do it, you're just gonna be mad the whole time.
Yeah.
I remember we started watching Bridgerton. That was the thing that was driving me fucking nuts.
Oh, wild. Okay, sure.
Uh-huh.
Jeez Louise. I was like, what is it? I know, man, and I watched a thing that had a plot for once, and that was what it was.
God.
We watch a lot of HGTV. I don't know what you want from me.
That's very fair.
I respect that.
And, like, cooking shows. Because we're fun.
Oh, and I also Leia and I also, we rewatched The Old Guard. Which is not a good movie. Like, that movie is not good, but it has a cool, like, it just ultimately has a cool premise, and parts of it are fucking fun. You know, like, I can't believe, it's like, oh yeah, no, this is a Netflix movie or whatever, but, like, actually the two big, like, romantic relationship, it's gay. They're all gay. Except for the French guy who's annoying.
Yeah. Always a French guy who's just there and annoying.
Yeah. 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 I don't know, I also have been, because I've just decided that I fucking say things like this on this podcast now, and I can let go of it. I've been rereading a lot of just, like, various kinds of Obi-Wan Kenobi-centric fanfic, like Star Wars fic. Because I've been thinking really a lot about how, like, there's a lot of characters in Star Wars who have, like, a very strong impact on, like, the plot of the series, but there's also a very, very wide range of, like, ways that people characterize them in the, like, wider circle of Star Wars media, both official and fan-created, and how you can have there are just, like, characters that you can have a lot of different takes on, like, who they are and how their, like, brains work, and as long as you, like, do the work of making them seem authentic in the setting that you're writing them in, you can just, like, kind of write them a lot of different ways. And then that just got me thinking about, like, I don't know, like, series media where the creative teams change over time and whether the stuff, like, stays feeling like The Thing versus not feeling like The Thing anymore. Not John Carpenter's The Thing, but, you know, like, sorry, I started using that word too many times in a sentence, which kind of got away from me. But, you know, you brought up the Doctor Who universe and, like, stuff in the Doctor Who universe that feels like it fits and stuff that doesn't. I tried to watch Doctor Who Class one time and I had no fucking idea what was going on the entire time.
What is
and I was
that?
like,
never mind.
It's no, it's fine. Look it up later. It doesn't make any sense. My apologies to anybody who, like, likes it. I don't think anybody watched it, so I doubt it. Anyway, yeah. I've been playing a lot of Lego Lord of the Rings in a desperate bid to, like, feel like I'm accomplished, like, have a sense of accomplishment, because most things in my life are, like, just, I do a lot of meaningless drudgery at work, so sometimes you just gotta, like, smash a bunch of stuff in Lego games.
Very
also, I have those movies memorized, so they, like, will pull individual voice lines and my brain will just fill in the, like, 3 minutes of dialogue on either side. Yeah, it's pretty funny. There we go. Yeah, on to Helena, who has, like, you know, an actual list of things.
I've been, because a couple of things I've been doing. So my roommate, I think I may have mentioned this last time, she has a Disney Plus subscription, which is dangerous for all of us. I have been using it to rewatch, like, and also watch for the first time ones that I just kind of missed the first time around. Which is why I mentioned earlier that I'm excited to rewatch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because that is on my list of movies to rewatch.
Nice.
So I've been doing a lot of that. I rewatched Toy Story. I rewatched Coco with my roommates. I rewatched Monsters, Inc.
Fuck yeah.
I rewatched Bambi the other night, which I swear to God I haven't seen since I was, like, I don't even remember the last time I saw Bambi. And I also did a lot of, like, watching classic movies that have been on my, like, I hate to call it a pile of shame, but, like, I need to see this movie and I've been meaning to for a long time list. So I watched The Red Shoes, which is from 1948, and it was fucking incredible. I watched The Muppet Movie, which was great. I'd never seen it before, and the cameos in it took me out. I watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I watched The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I think that's how you pronounce it. My French is favorite.
Yes! Sorry, I really like that movie. It's a good fucking movie, okay?
It's such a beautiful movie, and the ending, oh my god, and she's so beautiful in it, and yeah. And The Red Shoes, I should say, is also just visually incredible. There's a whole, Red Shoes I think is most famous. The only other time I'd seen anything of it was in film class 10 years ago. when we watched part of the ballet sequence in it, which is like this long 15-minute sequence where she performs the Red Shoes Ballet, and it becomes a little bit the line between reality and fiction blurs for a minute, just in terms of the audience, and it's incredible. It's so cool. I watched the documentary Dick Johnson is Dead, which is on Netflix, which I highly recommend to people if they enjoy crying. I thought it was very good. I watched The 400 Blows, which is another movie that's long been on my to-watch list. I loved it. I thought it was really, really, really good. I watched Brief Encounter, which is another one that's been on my to-watch list for a long time. It was gorgeous, and I cried a lot. It was so romantic. And I watched Wings of Desire, which is another movie that's been on my to-watch list for a long time, and that was really beautiful. It did make me have a lot of feelings about Angels in America as well, and also, unfortunately, Supernatural, which is just terrible and bad, because Wings of Desire is
do be watching Supernatural.
It's like, Wings of Desire is like such a beautiful work of art, and then Supernatural is like such a show. Is, I just like, I feel it so
do be
bad,
a show.
but it is a show, and I was thinking about it. And of course, I also rewatched Ferris Bueller's Day Off because I was feeling it, and I love that movie so much. I was thinking at the end of it, or kind of while I was watching it, like, is this my favorite movie ever? I think this is maybe my favorite movie, which I've kind of been thinking about for a long time. Like, I know it's always been up there, but it's just like, it's just so perfect in its own special way, and I'll talk more about that when we get into the movies later in the podcast. But that was a very enjoyable night for me, and I've been watching a bunch of TV shows. I finished my TOS, my original series of Star Trek, first watch and rewatch, and I started reading the Witcher books, which I'm really enjoying, and it's tiding me over until the show comes back in 2020 never. So I don't know when that's going to be. Every time, like, Netflix does that thing where they're like, oh, you're not watching anymore, let me advertise some shows to you, and they like do trailers, and then they're like, oh, it's The Witcher, it's coming back for a new season. It is. We don't know when.
We promise
It is. And I'm just sitting there.
They told
us.
Like,
well, promises.
I made a toss a coin to your Witcher joke in the chat during a D&D session, and everybody was like, I fucking hate you, I can't believe you got that song stuck in my head again, and I was like, man, you just have no concept of joy.
Yeah, just deal with it. There was a time
when
I
fun.
was like working the used book buying, like back when the first season came out last year, when I was like still working at my job, and that song was stuck in my head, and literally all day, to the point where I had to download it on my Spotify, and there it sits. So that is the truth about that song. So that's what I've been watching. A very, very quick rundown of what I've been watching. I would love to talk more about a lot of these movies at some point, because a lot of them were masterpieces. And I swear to God, if you could have heard me, as I was alone in my apartment when I was watching the Muppet movie, and I was laughing out loud frequently at a lot of stuff. And there was specifically a cameo at the very end of the movie that I don't want to spoil for the very few people who haven't seen the Muppet movie, but I lost my entire fucking mind. It was so good.
God, I love the Muppet movie so much.
It's so good. There's a joke at the beginning of the movie that I think is perfect when Fozzie Bear they're sitting in the audience, and he's like, if I'm not funny in this movie, I don't know if I can live with myself. And what's his name? The scientist, not Beaker, but I can't remember his name now. He says, oh, you'll have to get another apartment, won't you? And I just like, I was just laughing for 5 minutes after that. Anyway, I love the Muppets. But I did sound like a crazy person because I was alone in my apartment by myself. It's okay. That's how you know it wasn't just performative laughter.
Yeah, because you're just have a little chuckle to yourself at some Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, I fucking love him though. I'm just thinking about the time that I was watching the Muppet movie with Ben, and like Kermit came on screen, and I got genuinely like kind of choked up because I love Kermit so much. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I just really love Kermit." And he was like, "I get it." And I'm like, "Yeah."
No, but like the beginning,
I love him.
like that. At the very beginning, when he's
like
just in the
that.
swamp and he's singing his little song, and
Play
you're like,
this little banjo.
he's just so perfect. He just wants to help people. And Tom DeLuise like finds him in the middle of the swamp, and he's like, you could help people, and that's like, he's like, oh, I could help people with my music and my movies, and it's just, it's all he wants to do. He's such a perfect man. He's a frog.
We love a frog.
I love Kermit. Anyway,
I love Kermit T. Frog. Oh my god.
We'll do a Muppet episode.
Remember when we all had Kermit icons? That was good.
Yeah.
Now Z is the only one left standing.
I hardly ever change my Discord icon, largely because I'm on enough Discords where people are like, quit changing your fucking icon, I can't tell who you are. I'm like, I have my goddamn name in my display. Suck it up. But also, just, nope, I am not particularly inclined to give up, Kermit flipping you off and smoking.
Yeah. It's such a good Kermit, is the thing.
It's good
all
Kermit.
Kermits are good Kermits.
I mean, true.
You're
all
so,
Kermits
God,
are
you're
good
so
Kermits.
right. Cool. Movies that made us movie people. So, boy, we all did 3 very different takes on setting up our lists. I have a, like, bullet point list that I highlighted with movies I saw when I was young, and then movies I saw at a very specific, like, in, like, 2012, 2013, like, influential college era. And then Helena's just got, like, a list, and then Z has a list broken down by, like, genre, like, why it's important. I love that we did 3 different things, but we have massive overlap.
Yeah.
Our lists.
Yeah. There are some that I'm
does
just
anyone have, like, a place they want to start?
Oh my god, I don't even know.
We have, this is so, I thought I was gonna have, like, a small list, and then I just went off.
Okay, well, I would like to propose that while somebody is not the one talking, I can do it or somebody else can do it, but somebody should count up how many of these movies are on all 3 of our lists, and then how many of them are on at least 2 people's.
Okay.
I got you.
So we can
Okay.
come up with
we could do that later. Yeah. I mean, I could start first because I'm at the top. If we don't have somebody who particularly wants to go first. So movies I saw at a young age. I'm just gonna list them all off and then go from there. By young, that means like anywhere before I graduated high school. So some of these I saw when I was a kid. Some of them I just saw when I was like in high school. I just kind of grouped that all together in my like impressionable age before I became an adult. And then there was a gap, and then there was like a very specific phase where I saw a bunch of movies that ended up being very impactful. So, movies I saw young: Hot Fuzz, It Shreds, Don't Come At Me, The Fall, Fellowship of the Ring, but also all 3 of them. The Chronicles of Riddick, those 3 movies. I don't know what to tell you. Now, to be fair, with Chronicles of Riddick, I saw the second movie called Chronicles of Riddick in high school because my dad showed it to me, but he didn't show me the first one. And then later, in my influential college age, my friend Higu showed me the first one. And then I saw the third one later on my own. So it was I came at them at a very weird stage. But I was first introduced in high school. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. The Cat Returns. Cats Don't Dance. Secondhand Lion, which, caveat, haven't seen that movie in a really long time. I don't know if it passes the test anymore.
What test is
New
that?
Hope, but... The test of is it good and or is it problematic? Which it might be. New Hope, but all of Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Some Like It Hot, Dead Poet Society, and Fight Club. Which I saw when I was like 17, the ideal time to watch Fight Club.
Yeah.
So true,
and then,
though.
For the college age, this was like... I'm not going to go too deep into my personal history, but, like, after I left my first college, I was there for, like, a year, then there was kind of an in-between, and then started at my second college, and, like, going into my time at my second college, where I saw, the first Silent Hill movie. I know it's not good. Don't at me. Pacific Rim, Dread, Casablanca, the new Casino Royale and Skyfall, Summer Wars, Sunshine, Alien, The Thing, and Billy Elliot. Honorable mentions to Real Steel, which I saw in that college era, which is, like, not a great movie, but, like, is 100% rule of cool. And I remember watching it and being like, everything about this has me hyped to hell and back. I'm just amped about everything happening in this movie. I've never felt anything like that ever again. Hugh Jackman is a dad, and there's robot boxing. And then Princess Bride, which, like, is in a weird space where, like, I don't know if it was necessarily influential in the way I approach movies, but, like, something about it is, like, now looking back as an adult, I'm like, that movie is, like, really a good piece of craft, and also I loved it a lot as a kid, so it's in kind of a weird middle space, where I don't know if it's important for me, like, personally in terms of movie stuff, but it's important, like, emotionally, and also separately in terms of film craft, so, I don't know. That's kind of my list. Are
there any ones on there that you want to feel, that you want to feel? Are there any ones on there that you want to elaborate more on?
Yeah, I think there's a few. A lot of them we've already kind of talked about. Like, we don't need to talk about Lord of the Rings or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or, like, I don't know. We probably talked about Jurassic Park a lot. But I think I'm going to talk about, like, specifically the ones in that, like, college age, because that was that was a time in my life. But specifically, I had, like, dropped out of my first college. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I was, like, living at home. I wasn't going to school. And I was like, I don't know, like, I there was this, like, I don't know if this was self-imposed or what, but I was like, I have to go back to school. I was, like, doing online college in between, and I had, like, done a film class, and I was kind of at this point where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I was like, sitting on my childhood bedroom floor, like, thinking about, like, what am I going to do? I don't feel like there's anything that's, like, me, that's, like, mine. And I was like, but I really love movies. I've never told you this, Helena, but I remember thinking, like, yeah, but, like, movies are Helena's thing. And I was like, well, why can't it be both of your thing? And I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. It could be both of our thing, couldn't it?
Galaxy
I know, yeah, there was that moment where I was like, well, yeah, but it could also be my thing. And that was just an eye-opener, and that's when I started at my second college, pursuing a film degree. And then dropped out of that college. But that was, like, a very much a turning point of, like, me realizing that I could, like, just study film and, like, the craft of it and making them and writing them and all that stuff. Which is something I had kind of been, like, halfway interested in, but I was like, that's not really for me. And then I was like, well, why can't it be for me? And so during that time, I was consuming, like, I was studying Casablanca for a class. I think I'd seen it before, but I, like, studied it specifically for a class and, like, got really into it. And, like, Silent Hill was Silent Hill came my first go around to college, so it was the earliest of this group, but, like, was part of me realizing that I really like horror as a genre, was, like, watching that movie and, like, being able to sit through it, which was something that I would not have been able to do when I was younger. And, like, I wrote a final paper on Skyfall, for a film class, and, like, people showing me things, like, Higgu specifically showed me a bunch of these, was like, you gotta watch Alien, you gotta watch The Thing, things that, like, I just had never really watched before, and ended up being very influential into things like, what do I care about in film, what do I find interesting, what do I look for, what are, like, storytelling conventions I find compelling, what are visual things I find compelling, and a lot of the movies on that, like, I highlighted it in pink, that pink list are, like, cover different points, so, like, Dread is, like, very, like, what I look for visually in terms of world building, and then, like, The Thing is what I look for in, like, dramatic tension, and, like, cinematography, and the other ones were very much, like, mostly, like, what I look for in, like, stories, because I always loved stories. I think everyone does, but, like, was always making up stories, and, like, the earlier movies were, like, things that were, like, building blocks for me creating my own, and then from, like, the other set of movies are, like, film specific, like, yeah, these things influenced, like, what do I like, how do I like to tell stories, and then, like, the second list is influencing, like, how do I tell stories, but less in a writing perspective and more in a visual filmmaking perspective. That got away from me, and I don't know if I was able to convey my thought very clearly.
No, that makes
but
sense.
I okay, good. I don't know if I have anything, like, specifically outside of those. It's like, this one specifically did this, and I want to go into it more, because they're all, like, little pieces of the building blocks that formed my, like, the way I consume film. You know, it wasn't just one that was the turning point. It was kind of all of them together that were really important in a variety of different ways. And some of them I haven't seen in a while. Like, I haven't seen Dead Poet Society since, like, middle school, and it's one of those things where, like, I know at some point I'm gonna go back to it, but... And so, same with, like, Some Like It Hot. Actually, I haven't seen that movie in years, but, like, the fact that it's, like, stands out so clearly in my memory of something that, like, blew my mind fucking open, is, I think, really notable. So, that was kind of how I categorized my list and how I was thinking about, like, things that made me a movie person.
Fuck yeah.
By the way, I did make a list of what ones appear most on, or what movies appear more than once.
Yes.
Excellent.
That
let's save
let's do
save it
all
for
of
the end.
ours,
Okay.
and we can wrap up with that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, that was kind of my thought. Who wants to go next? Unless there are any questions about my list, I guess. This doesn't have to be us, like, up at the front of the classroom, like, here's my presentation, and then everyone claps politely, and then I sit down. Like, I don't know.
Here's one. I don't think I know I've heard you mention the name of the film Summer Wars before, but I don't know that I actually know what it's about. Or
Sure.
And so can you talk a little bit more about that one? Because
Yeah.
if I have heard you talk about it in the past, handshake meme brain like a sieve.
Yeah. So Summer Wars is a animated film, and I'm forgetting it's from Japan, and I'm forgetting the company that made it. But the idea is it is a guy who agrees to, as, like, a summer job, the girl he likes at school is like, hey, can you come with me to my family reunion and pretend to be my boyfriend? Because my family is expecting me to bring somebody home. And I just need somebody. And he's like, yeah, okay. And goes to this, like, ancestral home with, like, 1 billion family members, and kind of overlay it on top of that is this is a world where there is a, like, program called Oz, where every piece of, like, society infrastructure runs through this. So, like, people are, like, holding meetings, people are, like, doing school stuff. It is also, like, people are, like, gaming through there. It's a massive part of everyday infrastructure, and it controls a lot of different things. And so there is a 2-layer of this, like, very sweet, like, family drama movie about, like, grief and, like, the kind of cracks that form in a large family, but also, like, people coming together and community. And on top of that, it is also a, like, tech kind of a thriller where, like, obviously shit starts to go sour in this, like, big massive infrastructure and how the two weave together. And it's almost entirely set both in the virtual world and in this, like, massive country home that has, like, a lot of children running underfoot. And, like, it sounds like it's a high-tech action thriller, but it's, like, not really. It's, like, the pacing is incredible. It's very sweet. It's, like, it's funny. I love Summer Wars. It's one of those things where it's, like, even if you don't like anime, I recommend people watch Summer Wars. I cry every time. The last time I watched it was right after I found out that someone influential in Helena and I's young life passed away, and I, like, was like, I can't work today. And I watched that movie, which is a movie about, like, someone passes away, and I cried a lot. It's so good. And that had a really big influence on, like, visual, because the animation is just incredible, and the colors are great, and, like, the way that the world building feels like our, like, modern day world on top of this, like, I guess not so distant future, where, like, everything is run through this, like, virtual infrastructure, where everyone has, like, virtual avatars that they run around in. Like, also the combination of two juxtaposed ideas that fit very naturally together, was, like, really cool to me. And, like, it there's never a point where it, like, feels disconnected or you feel, like, taken out of that world. It is presented in a very natural way where you just buy into the bit, like, immediately. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it a bunch because I have a Blu-ray of it on my DVD shelf, and I'm sure I was like, do you want to watch it? I don't think I ever was like, do you want to watch Summer Wars? But I would be like, God, I fucking love Summer Wars.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I remembered you saying the name of it, but I couldn't remember what. And that you listening you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that is such a Matty movie. Because it's...
Yes.
Well, but, like, you really like movies that are genre films, but are all, like, genre films with strong emotional underpinnings.
Yeah, exactly. The idea of a genre film that has, like, a kind of a sci-fi tech thriller aspect, but is also about, like, a family that loves each other, is like, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm trying to find a good gif of it so I can share it with the class.
Chex Notes, Pacific Rim, fucking Real Steel,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know. Just a bunch of them. Sunshine in kind of a fucked up way.
Yeah, Sunshine in a weird way. Genre film through the lens of people. I really have got
to show you guys Event Horizon pretty soon.
Yes, please.
I think you're really gonna like it. Well, hell yeah. That's dope. Ugh, man. I also, like, Dead Poet Society, when you watch Dead Poet Society and you're, like, 14 and you don't know you're gay yet, and you, like, can't really figure out why you're, like, you know, like, obviously you're very, like, you know, like, you already understand the dream of, like, being an artist is a really, like, rough one to go after, and you, like, understand when, like, adults in your life are like, no, like, you shouldn't do that because it's, like, a rough way to make a living. But then there's also this other aspect of it that you just, like, can't put your finger on, but you're like, oh, it's more than that. It feels like it hurts worse, and I can't really figure out why. And then you think about it, like, 10 years later, and it's like, 'cause you're gay! Anyway. I know, I was gonna say, is that just me, but I speak for literally all three of us.
I think about this constantly, that, I'm trying to think about what role it is. Oh, I think it was that role. I think it was, the character that Robert Sean Leonard plays. River Phoenix almost played that part. And
fuck off.
Yeah, so now I love Robert Sean Leonard in that part. I think he's beautiful and tragic. But the idea of River Phoenix playing that makes me want to scream. That would have been so
like,
painful.
Robert Sean Leonard does all the right things in that movie, but, like... River Phoenix.
I just think about, I did, in a brief tangent, watch My Own Private Idaho for the first time last summer, and the campfire scene with him and Keanu, where he's just like, I love you and you don't pay me. Like, oh my god, guys. He was so good. He was so wonderful. Anyway, this is not a getting sad about River Phoenix episode, although it could be, but it won't.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll
integral parts of stuff that makes us movie people. Being sad about River Phoenix could be one of them.
Do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I can go next. So I kind of divided my list up into, like, the sort of flavor of impact that stuff had on me rather than trying to go chronological because my sense of like a personal chronology is just absolute garbo. I have none. Relative timing of shit in my like personal history. I don't know her. But I don't know, I guess like some of the like oldest ones are just kind of like the first movies that I really distinctly remember making me like cry because I was sad or hide behind the couch because I was scared or something like that. The idea that like a movie could make you like make enough of an emotional impact to make me like physically do something in response to it. I fucking The Lion King, which I was obsessed with as a like, you know, very small child, and also one of my earliest memories is of hiding behind the fucking couch during the stampede because it scared the shit out of me. It's that and the episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where everybody evolves backwards and Worf turns into a lizard. I had to hide behind the TV until my dad came and turned that one off. Because I was so scared of it. But also, like, the funeral scene in Four Weddings and a Funeral, which I had seen cut up for which I saw cut up for television a bazillion times before I saw it for real, and every single time, because my parents just really like that movie, and so they would sort of be channel flipping and stop and watch part of it, and like I just would cry every single time. And same with Dead Poets Society, which is like, that was one of those movies where I had this like big outsized emotional reaction to it, and like I wasn't really like sure why, but it just, the idea that like a piece of media could make that kind of impact really, like, you know, whacked me upside the head and was like, movies, a thing to pay attention to and think about a lot. And then I got really like kind of up my own ass about like theater being like the purest form of like storytelling through like pretending. And then I have like movies that were like, okay, that really made me think about like things that film as a medium can do that you can't do in any other medium. Which, like, The Fall, which obviously we've talked about 80 bazillion times on this podcast, and we will talk about 80 bazillion more times on this podcast, and it will deserve every minute of audio time we give it. But, like, I watched The Fall. I conned my parents into getting it in the mail from Netflix, because Netflix used to mail you DVDs for all you Gen Zers out there. My parents
Grandma,
were like,
let's get you to bed.
Look, it has been established, I'm not old, I'm ancient and unknowable, thank you. I'm also only 29. But my parents were like, oh, okay, that was kind of weird, and I took the DVD downstairs and watched it again immediately because I needed to see how they did stuff. Because the way that you could have a story that you could have put on a stage and a story that you could never have put on a stage in the same movie at the same time was just like, oh, okay, this is two like very different things that are existing in the same space. I have to look really closely at how they fit together. Or like the fucking plot twist in Atonement just annihilated me. In a theater when I was like whatever age I saw that in a theater with, and I went from being incredibly uncomfortable because I was sitting next to my mom and the sex scene was like, you know, filmed in such a way as to be like actually sensual as opposed to just like off-putting, and I was like, oh wow, Keira Knightley has legs, oh god, I'm sitting next to my mom. And then another big like reveal because of the way film lets you like kind of cut back and see the same thing from a different angle, and you know there's not really any other way to like do that other than with film, because of film, you know, because of the way you can edit film, it's malleable. The Sting like, which I've watched a gazillion times, and I love the twist every time the Sting whips. The reveal, this one very specific moment in The Pianist, which I think I've mentioned on the show before, where the titular character, Spielman is sitting, he's like in hiding from the Nazis in this apartment that has a piano. And he hasn't been in 500 yards of a piano for years. And he's a concert pianist. Like, this is his whole life. But he can't play it because nobody can know that he's there. Oh. Like, if he plays it, like, the Nazis will find him and he'll be murdered. And the camera, like, it starts outside the door and you hear piano music and you're like, oh fuck. He's lost it, like, he's given up, he started playing, and it follows, this winds through the apartment, you hear the music, and you see him sitting at the piano bench, and you're, like, totally horrified, and it pans down, and his fingers are, like, over the keys, and he's just imagining the music in his head. And I was fucking floored. Yeah.
I need to see that movie so bad.
Please,
I still haven't seen it,
like,
and I got
it's
chills
been...
with you describing that.
It's been, let's see, I watched it for the first time when I was in 8th grade, so it's probably been long enough that I'm emotionally ready to watch The Pianist again. It's a lot. It's not, I could do a whole, like, mini episode on the sort of storytelling ethics of movies about the Holocaust. Is there, can you ever have such a thing as, like, an ethical, like, fictional thing? Anyway, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now, but it, like, that moment in that movie was like getting hit in the head with, like, a fucking, like, intellectual frying pan. Like, I just was like, oh, this is the kind of thing that you can do. It was just, like, it was another, like, really crystalline moment of, this is why people write PhD theses about movies. This is why this is a whole intellectual, like, discipline. This is why people argue about movies in the newspaper, and I disagree with absolutely all of them. Someday I'll find a film critic I trust, but it hasn't happened yet. And then, like, I don't know. I've got, like, movies, then there were sort of, like, just, like, movies that were, like, hey, like, not everything has, like, Hollywood, like, American Hollywood sensibilities. Basically, which I realized that this list is just shit that was like, hey, actually, you really like British indie film, dipshit. Because this list is just Billy Elliot, In Bruges, and God's Own Country. I mean, In Bruges is an Irish movie, not a British movie, but, whatever. Sorry, Martin McDonagh. But Billy Elliot was the first, R-rated movie I ever saw. And I watched it in my my friend's basement. I did not tell my parents. And so it had this really fun thing where, like, so much of that movie is about finding a way to express yourself in a thing that your parents don't approve of, and I was literally seeing this thing that spoke to me that was me, like, doing something secretive that my parents wouldn't have approved of if they'd known about it. I can't ballet dance to save my goddamn life, but I sure can watch movies with a lot of gay subtext in them. And then, like, just kind of movies that, like, a lot like Matty's list, like, movies that sort of, like, let me kind of establish a sort of set of parameters for, like, what I care about in movies, rather than just, like, what is, my, not necessarily, like, my, like, critical eye, because that's a little different, but my, just what I like my taste rather than my critical eye. Which, like, I will force people to fucking watch Lawrence of Arabia with me. Like, when we were 17 or whatever, I was like, no, watch Lawrence of Arabia. People were like, it's 4 fucking hours. I'm like, I don't care, it's pretty. I have a lot of feelings about it. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is, like, fully a third of my, like, verbal humor is just directly related to that, movie. Lord of the Rings, Master and Commander, Lawrence of Arabia and Master and Commander being 2 movies in which there are no women with speaking roles. Oops. Casablanca, which, I made a bunch of people, my friends from high school, come over and watch a double feature of Casablanca and the Maltese Falcon. I don't know why anybody said yes, but they did. And I was like, okay, I'm 16 or whatever, and yeah, I am gonna be that, like, that guy who's like, no, old movies are good. And then, when I was in, like, middle school, I watched the first, like, half an hour of The Sixth Sense at a friend's house. And then I had to go home, like, because it was school night or something, and I did not turn the TV back on for whatever reason and finish watching The Sixth Sense. Also, I, like, missed 20 minutes of it, and, like, DVR didn't exist. I would have had to call my parents and tell them to start recording it on on the VCR. Once again, I love dating myself. Mostly that's just because my family are Luddites and refuse to adapt to new recording technology for a million years. But I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna not watch the rest of that movie. And then my friend the next day at school was like, assumed that I had gone and watched the rest of the film and, like, was like, oh, could you believe the, big fat spoiler for the twist in The Sixth Sense? And I went, huh. And I thought, okay, I don't care about finishing that movie. And it's not because the twist is ruined. It's because I just decided then and there that I don't like movies where the whole point is a plot twist. Mostly I just think it's a funny story. And then, then I got on Tumblr. And that was a bad idea, but, it's a thing that happened.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it worked out pretty
tragic
for me in the end. But there was this, Tumblr subculture of, like, sort of, not necessarily faux intellectual, but, like, pop intellectual movie criticism, which was just, like, dissecting the shit out of movies, mostly featuring vaguely homoerotic relationships between white men. It was like the, like, Film 101 aesthetic criticism version of the traveling slash fandom. And I didn't care about the traveling slash fandom, but I really wanted to be, like, fluent in dissecting, like, the aesthetics and composition of film in the way that, like, the cool kids were. So I spent a bunch of time thinking about stuff that I, like, didn't actually care that much about in retrospect, or, like, that hasn't stuck with me. Like, Inception, don't care about Inception anymore, sorry. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is functionally a perfect film, and I still love it, so I stand by the amount of time I spent thinking about that movie. And then, like, I don't know, I remember, like, Kill Your Darlings was big. Skyfall, which is fucking awesome, and I don't regret the amount of time I spent talking about that either on the internet. The Social Network, which I just don't like and never have, sorry guys.
Tragic.
Yeah, and then, like, movies that sort of made me, like, make peace between my, like, theater nerd brain and my film nerd brain. Which is, in fact, movies that are like, oh yeah, no, you can adapt plays in a way that respects the source material and is also a good movie. And it's The History Boys and Henry V. Ken Branagh, Henry V. I will die on this fucking hill. But we already know that I will die on the hill of Ken Branagh Shakespeare adaptations. I don't need to say it again. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and special shout out to Dunkirk, which I sort of intellectually understood why people wanted to shoot things in 70mm and then show them in 70mm. But then Matty and I went to go see Dunkirk in 70mm at whatever theater that was in Portland. Was that the Hollywood?
We saw it at the Hollywood.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we were sitting up front, close to the side, and the sound blew our fucking brain off.
Yeah, it was just like you could feel the the audio track from the Spitfire engines like vibrating through your seat and into your skeleton. And
it was like one of the most intense film experiences I've ever had in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, spectacular and utterly overwhelming. And I was like, I've like never needed to stand right next to the amp at a rock concert before, but now I want to stand right next to the amp at a rock concert. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my. I'm really glad that I organized these by topic.
Yeah, I wish that I had done something similar, but I just I found stuff that, I don't know, I had, a lot of these are ones that I have kind of personal connections to, or I associate them with being important because they came to me in such a serendipitous way. But I'll do a quick rundown through the list. I'm not going to talk about all of them extensively, but I organized mine in alphabetical order because I work at a bookstore. I did...
God, Helena, I love your brain. Before you said, does anybody have any questions they want to ask me? Because we asked Matty questions.
This is true.
This is
I
true.
just messing with you. You don't have to ask me questions.
But I do want to just briefly say, Kill Your Darlings. That was a time in my life. That movie to me, it came out in 2012. It seems to me to be, or I think it came out in 2012, 2013 maybe. It seems to me very representative of a time, that era of Tumblr. It's 2013. I'm a fucking idiot. Okay.
Yeah, because it was the predecessor to the dark academia horse shit.
Well, and it's also because
Good
Daniel
Lord.
Radcliffe was in it, and he plays
Yeah.
Ginsburg,
True.
and Dane DeHaan
Yeah, and he looks
like
he
a
looks
Draco
more
Malfoy
like
XB.
Yeah,
and they make
yeah,
out
yeah.
in it, and they make
Yes,
out in
they
it,
do.
and it's a thing. It's not.
I saw
it's-
that
it's not
movie
a very good
once
movie.
when I was so depressed I wasn't like making memories with a friend of mine who I had a like ridiculous crush on, and I mostly watched it because she liked it. Which I feel like is like fairly appropriate for Kill Your Darlings.
That sounds right. Yeah.
You know, that is perfect. There is some good performances in it. I think that Dane DeHaan is quite good in it.
What the fuck is... I'm gonna have to look up what the fuck Dane DeHaan is, like, up to.
He's doing
I thought you were gonna say what he's been in. I was gonna be like, he was in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, so...
to say. He's a goblin. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah,
excuse me.
Both of you have forgotten that I never actually saw either of the,
It's okay, we
Andrew
saw them
Garfield
for
Spider-Man movies.
you. I own the first one on DVD,
He was
so...
in that terrible science fiction movie with Cara Delevingne.
God.
So, excuse you.
Oh, that looked... Obviously, that looked awful, but also, like, visually it looked like it whipped, and I kind of want to watch it.
Oh my
I
god,
kinda
what is
wanna
it
watch
called?
too. It's something stupid.
Something
Did Leia
with
see
1,000
that?
planets.
Yes, something like that.
Valeria?
Valerian, that sounds
I think
weirdly
Leia... I feel
sexual.
like Leia saw it at some
I mean,
point,
it
and, like,
certainly
sometimes we
seems
talk
like the
about
kind
it.
of movie that Leia would have seen. Babe, I love you.
It's based on a graphic novel, I think.
mean, I wanted to
Anyway.
go see it.
He was supposed to be playing, like, a 16-year-old or something, and I was like, okay.
God, I forgot about Chronicle. Man, what a time.
I thought you were saying that in reaction to my 16-year-old comment, and I was like,
Oh no.
a bit dramatic.
No, I was just thinking about him. I was thinking about the movie Chronicle.
Chronicle. Uh-huh.
One of the many shit tier movies I watched when I... Not shit tier. It's okay. Michael B. Jordan is in it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Can
forgot he's in
anything
it.
that Michael B.
College.
Jordan is in actually be a shit tier movie, or does I think he automatically
He automatically,
elevates things, like
yeah.
at least slightly out of shit tier?
Yeah.
This is true.
Like if nothing else, you got to like appreciate Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. True. I love that Skyfall is in your, like, weird Tumblr fandom movies, because that is so not my emotional association with it. And also I didn't see that. Oh, I was like, what was even the ship? Was it him and him and the villain? And I was like, no, it was him and Q. God, cowards. I hate them. I hate them so much.
The only part of it I cared about was him and the good part of the fandom was him and the villain. The bad part of the fandom was him and Q, and the galaxy brain part of the fandom was Ray Fiennes M and Tanner.
Yes. Okay,
that which was where I lived
of the following film, which I guess was Spectre, which otherwise is not a very good movie.
I still have not seen.
Sucks,
except that one part where it's like Andrew Scott is like terrorizing Q and
oh my god,
and
I
Ray
forgot.
Fiennes and Tanner and like a bunch of them, and like they're having their own little adventure while fucking James is off doing God knows what. I don't care. So like they're having their own little thing, and Andrew Scott's being campy and Irish, and I'm like, this is delightful. If this is the whole movie, let's just do that for 2.5 hours.
I'm gonna watch Spectre again, but just that part, I swear to God.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, and tragically, I have to see it, so...
Fair.
I feel like rewatching it again just for that part, because goddamn delightful.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can go through this.
We got to go.
We got to go. So I made this list. Let's read it. Contact, Eyes Without a Face, Fanny and Alexander, Fargo, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Fall, Four Weddings and a Funeral, Henry V, Kenneth Branagh's Henry V, of course. You kept talking and reminding me of things as you were talking, so I put... No,
that also happened to me.
Typing. Both of you kept typing and reminding me of shit. Also, I also didn't mention Brokeback Mountain.
I know! I was like, how did I not mention Brokeback Mountain? A movie I've seen once, but literally changed my life. I can't even. Also, the Ocean's movies. What the fuck? Okay, continue.
The Incredibles.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Jaws, In Bruges, The Iron Giant, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Lion King, Little Miss Sunshine. What was here in this long ellipses that I typed? Oh, it was Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think you... Originally, you typed that for Pirates, if I recall.
Yeah, it's the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, not Little Miss Sunshine, Mulan.
Which is good.
The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie is good, but...
It's also good.
It's also good. Princess Bride, Rear Window, Robin Hood, the Disney Robin Hood from 1970s, Sleeping Beauty, the Disney Sleeping Beauty. A lot of these are going to be animated. Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, Star Trek First Contact, Toy Story, The Witches / Labyrinth, and Weekend. So I'm not going to go deep into all of that. But there are some of these that have like stories attached to them that I'm very fond of.
Can I ask a quick question before you do that?
Please.
What? So you put Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke together, obviously because they are both Studio Ghibli movies. Why is The Witches and Labyrinth together?
Because they were the two movies that besides Scooby-Doo movies, because it is a given that I used to rent Scooby-Doo movies from the video store, from Blockbuster / Hollywood Theater when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Besides that, The Witches and Labyrinth were like the two movies that I rented all the fucking time as a kid and just watched over and over. I was in love with that. And they were very similar because they were both like Jim Henson movies. They came out within a few years of each other, but like not super close. Labyrinth is an 80s movie, Witches came out in 1990, so it's like just on the border of that. But I remember being very into like creepy, weird stuff. Not weird stuff, but just like creepy stuff as a kid. In a way that I could get like none of my friends to be into. And like I read Coraline when that came out. The book Coraline came out when I was in 3rd grade. And that scared the hell out of me, but I was in love with it, and all of my friends hated it because it was so scary. So I was like alone in like watching these movies that I just appreciated because I liked how creepy they were, and I liked the use of puppetry as well. And of course, there was the fact that Labyrinth has Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie in it, which we all know the reason why that is influential. And other than that, I would say like Sleeping Beauty. I owned Sleeping Beauty on VHS when I was a kid, and on a lot of those early like VHS Disney movies, they had the special features just after the movie, just in case you wanted to watch it. And there was a behind the scenes featurette that showed just like the making of Sleeping Beauty, and it showed a lot of footage of them painting the cells, like hand painting the cells, putting the paint into the trees, and I was so mesmerized by it, and like how the paint looked on the cell and putting all the cells together, and the footage of them having the actors act out the scenes on a soundstage, because like to learn how to animate it. I like distinctly like the battle at the end of Sleeping Beauty where he's killing Maleficent as a dragon, having the actor like climb to the top of this like pile of blocks basically, and this like having a sword on, so they could just learn like, okay, study how he has to hold his arm and everything like that. The actress playing Sleeping Beauty, like put her in that costume, have her dance a bit so we can study how her hair moves, how the dress moves. I was so obsessed with that behind the scenes thing. And I remember just rewatching Bambi the other night that there was definitely one of those on the Bambi VHS too, because there's something that they do in the forest scenes in Bambi where they like they were putting the cells on top of each other to create, or something. They're doing something innovative with the cells to create that depth of like the depth of field in the animated movie. So they could like, here's one cell, we're putting that on top of the other cell on top of the other cell, which was something that they had already been doing in live action, but like was kind of innovative at the time for animation. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. As a kid, I'm so into this. And I still think that Sleeping Beauty is just one of the most gorgeous and underrated Disney movies ever. And I just
that
love
is
it so much.
My mom's favorite Disney movie.
Hell yeah. She has good taste.
So I like watched it. I remember like watching that with her when I was like, she like made sure that I watched that one when I was a kid, because it had been her favorite Disney movie when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Because that's how long those have been around, which is pretty wild.
Exactly. Sleeping Beauty came out the year my dad was born.
Yeah. Not being a like, haha, my mom's old, but just being like the like Disney owning everything is bad, but like sometimes the cultural continuity element of that is fun.
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty rules. It's so good
also,
to
Sleeping
look
Beauty
at.
just fucking rules.
I used to be very scared by, but like delightfully terrified by, the scene in which Maleficent appears in the fireplace. And I think that part of what the movie does so well is because it relies so heavily on the Tchaikovsky score to inspire the animation. Is like the marriage of music and visuals in that is so well done. And it's just like that haunting, like almost the Jaws theme, like hinting at her arriving in the fireplace, and then all of a sudden she just appears, and it's just it's so creepy. Yeah, I love that movie. Some other ones on here, In Bruges. I think I talked about this, like I watched this one time when I was in high school, and I decided that I was in the International Baccalaureate program, and we had to write an essay, and I had never written an essay. I decided that I wanted to write my extended essay on film, even though I had never written an essay on film before. And my teacher was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "Please read a book about how to write a film essay." And I was like, "I shall not do that, and I will get a D on this essay." And so I did. But I decided I wanted to write my essay on it, and so part of why I know it so well is because I spent so much of my senior year just sitting on my parents' computer and watching it scene by scene and breaking it down and examining all the little bits of visual and textual foreshadowing. And I'm still discovering things years later, and like part of the reason that I think my essay wasn't very good, it's clear I just really wanted to talk about how good of a movie In Bruges was. So I was like, and then this part happens, which later foreshadows this thing, and blah, 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 blah. And it just wasn't, it was just me gushing about the movie a lot of the times, couched in like semi-academic language. It wasn't really an essay about, and now I'm comparing the use of location in film noir and modern neo-noir in terms of In Bruges and Fargo and Lady Killers. It wasn't that good of an essay. But I love In Bruges. A lot of these movies I'm realizing as I was writing this are about like how important dialogue was to me, or how the dialogue beats in a movie or the plot beats in a movie always have a huge impact on me. Like story beats specifically, I was looking at Contact and Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean was like the first time I think I ever noticed like story beats in a movie or how the plot was guiding you, and like actively noticed it. And there's like some other stuff in here, like the dialogue in so much of these movies, like Fargo and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Four Weddings and a Funeral, The Incredibles, Jaws, and Bruges, like all of these, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, like Little Miss Sunshine, it's all like so embedded in my brain that I think like memorable dialogue is such a huge thing for me. And I don't know if that's like a theater person thing, but like it's so important to a movie being one of my favorites for some reason. There's some other stuff in here. Eyes Without a Face, I watched for the first time when there's a site called Mubi, M-U-B-I, which is a streaming site / like movie review site. And now you do have to, like, there are some like subscription options where you can watch movies for free if you're a student. But now you have to pay to stream certain movies. But back in my day, back in, I think this is 2010 or 2011, they were offering a few movies for free, a lot of which were movies that happened to be in the Criterion Collection at the time. And I wish I'd taken advantage of that more, because there were some really good movies on there. But the movie that I chose to watch on there was Eyes Without a Face, which is the French horror film from 1960. And I think I have such a fond memory of that movie because I felt so cool for watching it. And that's such a horrible thing to say, but like it was kind of like having this secret movie that it was also happened to be a horror movie. So there's an extra element of like forbiddenness to it, even though I was 17 fucking years old. But having this secret movie that nobody else in my life had seen, like my parents hadn't seen it and I had never heard of it before that point. And it was kind of like this personal relationship with it. I love those kinds of experiences where you can just be with yourself with a movie. And sadly, I was just thinking about your point about Inception, Ezra, like, that's like one of my most memorable movie-going experiences when my parents and I went to see Inception, and they were like, and I was like, that was fun, can I go see it again? And they're like, we're not gonna go see it again, you can go by yourself. And I was like, I can go to a movie by myself? And I walked to the Roseway and saw Inception again within like 2 days by myself. And there's like 2 other people in the movie theater. It was pretty sad, but I had a really good time with it. And that's my relationship with Eyes Without a Face and Inception. There's a couple other on here, like Fanny and Alexander was one of those like foreign movies that I put on our Netflix queue because I wanted to see movies that were on the IMDb top 250. And I think it was one of the first foreign films that I watched, or certainly one of the first movies that was in a foreign language. And the pace was so different, and the style of storytelling was so different to what I was used to watching at that age. I think I was like 14. And it was so mesmerizing and otherworldly. Like I think that was a major floodgate might be the right word for like my sense of like wanting to explore a little bit more and like take chances on just weird movies. I don't know. Like I just it opened my I hate to say it like this. It opened my mind, man. It just made me care about movies 10 times more than I cared about them before, which is already a lot. A couple more on here. Lion King. I was just obsessed with The Lion King as a kid. And Mulan was the first movie that I remember seeing in theaters. And I bring those two up primarily because my dad, I one time I took my my cousin's daughter to go see the Peanuts movie, along with her mom and my aunt. And she was kind of, she was pretty attentive, but she was kind of squirming. And I just noticed that there was a lot of kids in the audience who were kind of moving around a lot and, going through the aisles. And I was talking to my dad about that. Like, yeah, I mean, there's kind of distracting because there's a lot of kids like moving around. And I said, I suppose that I did that too when I was a kid. And he was like, no, pretty much we just put you in front of a movie and you just were instantly engaged in it and interested and just wanted to watch the movie. So that was never a problem. I was like, yeah, sounds about right, actually.
The more things change, etc., etc.
Etc., etc. And then I guess Ferris Bueller, I'm trying to pinpoint. When I was watching Ferris Bueller the other night, as I said, I was having that thought where, like, I think this might be my favorite movie, which is, I don't even know, man. I don't know what it is about that movie. It just works so well for me, and I think it's my entire personality in a sad way. It's not. It is, and it isn't. I think when I was a teenager, I used to defend this film to absolutely nobody about why I liked it so much and why I thought it worked, because it's a comedy and it's so absurd sometimes. It's a purposefully absurd comedy, like in situation. And sometimes in the editing and the presentation, like it's purposely done in a way that's like not realistic. And compared to something like The Breakfast Club, which also engages in those like filmmaking techniques that sometimes, but is much more known as the iconic John Hughes teen movie that gets it right, And I do like The Breakfast Club. I think it's a little bit too on the nose sometimes, and there's something that always rang true to me about Ferris Bueller, even if this is not necessarily true about my experience with teachers or adults necessarily, is like, yeah, it's ridiculous that this principal would, first of all, that Ferris would get away with any of this so well and so successfully. Secondly, that a principal would go to the extent that Rooney goes to in this movie to just get this one kid. It's even the worst of us. I can't imagine that actually happening in real life. But there's something to that. There's something about the idea that people, when you're a teenager, it does just kind of feel like people are out to get you. Especially all of the adults in your life, that you just can't win and that you are constantly in this game with them. To do what, you're not sure. The stifling atmosphere of the school this time around, and the obsession with attendance, and how attendance was like the sign of an exemplary school record, and that really got to me this time around, as well as Cameron's character arc. I mean, has always rung true, but his conversation with Solon during the parade, where he's like, Ferris has always been able to handle all of this, and I've never been able to handle anything, and I don't know what I'm going to do after school. Like, I'm going to go to college, but to do what? I don't care about anything. I don't want to do anything. It's just like that day was so special. And yeah, man, I don't know. These are all like the thoughts I had about it that aren't really leading to one coherent thesis, but there's something about that movie, seeing that at a pretty young age, that really, like, I don't know, made me think about what editing could do and how editing could tell a story without me actually, like, thinking about it consciously. So I watch it now and I'm like, God, this is a brilliantly edited movie. And it doesn't really get enough recognition for that. And also still manages to tell a story about teen angst without, hitting the nail on the head too many times. Yeah, so that's a long-winded way of saying all of these movies. I Robin Hood Disney, it's just like, I was trying to say, what is it about that one? It's just the vibes, man. It's just the vibes are good.
I've had the Mumford and Sons version of Not in Nottingham happening in my head ever since I saw you type that.
Poor Mumford. R.I.P.
Mumford and all his sons.
Mumford and all his sons. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I, absolutely had questions for you before you started, really getting into it, and now they're just, gone.
Oh, sorry.
No, you had a lot of, cool stuff to say, and I was just like, yeah. I do want to say, like, coming from specifically the perspective of someone who's known you for a very long time, it's so funny looking at your list of like influential movies, because I'm like, a bunch of these are movies that are in my head are categorized as Helena movies. Like, these are capital on each of the words. These are movies Helena likes, comma, and these are her movies. Like, Little Miss Sunshine is like a Helena movie for me. The so Incredibles, Fargo, Four Weddings and a Funeral, which I've never seen. I also associate Four Weddings and a Funeral with my mom, weirdly. I don't know why, but I do. Yeah, Toy Story is a Helena movie.
Oh, yay.
It's just so, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Especially if it's a movie I haven't, Ferris Bueller is a Helena movie. Though it's less so because that's, like, a movie I have also seen a bunch, so that is also a, like, movie, like, that's an Us movie, I guess, in my brain.
Bang Bang to me is an Us movie.
It's an Us movie. Not that I don't like the movies that I like primarily associate with you, but, like, if you had to be like, okay, Helena's coming over and you have to pick a movie to watch with her, it has to be something she's seen before, like, something you know she'll like. I'd be like, okay, well, and I would pick from, like, a bunch of the, like, from this list. I'd be like, well, this one for sure. I just think it's very funny.
It's so interesting about Little Miss Sunshine too, because that for me for a long time was a Jamie movie. My friend Jamie, because they were the ones who they were the ones. They are legion. They were the one person, singular person, who introduced me to that movie. And I remember we saw that when we were like 12. It was one of the early, not the first for me, but definitely one of the earliest rated R movies. And God, I mean, that dialogue is so... I remember that being very controversial because it was definitely... The humor in that was very dark. And we could show it to one of our friends and they were like, I don't think this is very funny. And I was like, ha ha ha, okay.
Yeah. I think I also associate that movie with Jamie. I just haven't talked to Jamie in like 10 years, probably.
This is
So it's just a little bit different. It's also funny because, like, looking at some of the movies on my list are like, oh, these are movies that Helena showed me. Not to be gay. Too bad I'm gay. Well, fuck you. Not to be gay. But, like, I think it's so sweet that, like, a lot of the movies on my, like, influential list are, like, things that people were like, you gotta see this, and they showed it to me. Like, not a lot of them are things I found on my own. And I'm like, isn't that nice that, like, I don't know, like... A lot of what made me who I am today is the things that people brought to my doorstep.
You can see the impact that other people had on you by what they chose to, like, sit you down and share with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am today if my parents had not been watching Star Trek The Next Generation when I was born.
I mean, if my mom had not let me rent Cats Don't Dance approximately a badillion times, I would be a different person, I think. God, I rented that movie a lot! Like, a lot! Yeah, just, I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And there's also a bunch of movies on both of your lists that are movies that are, like, I associate with the two of you, and also I'm like, I gotta get them to show me it. So, like, I still haven't seen Lords of Arabia. I still haven't seen Four Weddings, obviously. I haven't seen Atonement, or there's a bunch of movies I haven't seen. Don't ask me questions.
Atonement is amazing and also just, like, will annihilate you emotionally.
I know. I
watched that.
In Bruges, I think, is number one on the list because I haven't seen In Bruges, and it's one of those things where, like, for years... I've seen, like, part of In Bruges, but for years it's just something I just never got around to, and I'm like... it's on both of your lists, like...
I saw Atonement for the first time when I was in college and going through my James McAvoy phase. This is at a time when I was going through several phases because as a bisexual, I get to be attracted to two things, and it's everything and everybody. That's what I chose. So I was going through a David Tennant phase. The time was also going, which is still ongoing. I was going through a James McAvoy phase, which is still ongoing, and something else too, I'm sure. So I pirated a lot of James McAvoy movies, including like Starter for 10. I mean, really deep cuts. We're talking.
Oh my god! Fucking Starter for 10.
Starter for 10 with Catherine Tate and Benedict Cumberbatch and Rebecca Hall, and I feel like Bill Nye's
actually
in
like
that movie because probably
a fairly good. Like, look, Starter for 10 is legitimately worth watching, though.
I do like that movie. It's a good movie. Fucking Roy O'Shea was here. I watched that movie.
Yeah, fuck, I watched that during my James McAvoy phase, too.
Oh, handshake meme. And Atonement was, like, one of the only ones where I was like, I gotta get me a Blu-ray rip of this. And it is a gorgeous movie. That movie, besides being, like, just a incredibly well-made movie, it's also James McAvoy and Keira Knightley in 2008. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was
literally what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to process this?
And I think he's more attractive in that movie than he has been possibly ever. Even though, like, I think most of us had there's that joke post, which is not really a joke, but kind of a joke, where it's like, I was first attracted to James McAvoy when he had goat legs. I have no James McAvoy standards. Like,
yeah,
all of us first saw James McAvoy as Mr. Tumnus in Chronicles of Narnia. We're like,
fucking Mr. Tumnus.
There's like these cute boys here and there who are actually our age, and we're like, who's that with the goat?
Yeah, we're like, who's the
goat
guy
man
with the goat legs? Look, he's really vulnerable in that movie, and we all know that's secretly what people want.
He's shaped like a friend.
What? I said what I said, and I fucking meant it.
You're right, and you shouldn't say it. You're right.
No, right. I'm just gonna air all of our dirty laundry on this podcast.
Our grievances.
It's everybody's dirty laundry at this point. I can't think of a single person that I'm serious right now. I can't think of a person that I know in real life who did not have a point where they were like, Mr. Tumnus, though. Like, I'm serious. I can't think of
he's a little cute.
Person. It's James McAvoy. It's just something that we went through. It's it's the human experience, really.
It's true. It's true.
And now my man's out there doing Cyrano de Bergerac. Good for him.
You know what? King.
God, I'm so excited
King
to watch that.
Me too.
Me too.
That's gonna be good. We should all watch that. Helena.
Yeah.
I gotta know what this Venn diagram of our lists is. I gotta know the top. The highs and lows.
So most of these there's only 2 movies that were on all 3 of our lists.
I bet I can guess what they are, but hit me with them.
Well, I'll start from the bottom first. There's 9 movies that appeared on 2 people's lists.
Okay.
Henry V appeared on both Ezra and my lists, as did...
Yeah, I didn't see that movie until later. I think if I had seen it earlier, it'd probably be on my list, but I didn't see it until like a year or 2 ago, so...
Henry V, Lion King, In Bruges, Four Weddings and a Funeral, those are all on both my list and Ezra's list. Princess Bride was on your list and my list. Let's see. Billy Elliot, Dead Poets Society, Casablanca, and Lord of the Rings were on both you and Ezra's list. Your list and Ezra's list. So what are your guesses for the 2 movies that are on all 3 of our lists?
It's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in the fall. Like, what the fuck else would it be?
Yeah, man.
Like, what the fuck else?
You got it.
And it's so funny because all of those... It's so... Because, like, I came to those movies through you, Helena, but Z interacted with them entirely separately from us. What are the fucking odds?
This, once again, just fucking proves my point that, like, I was just, like, secretly also a third part of your adolescent friend group who you just didn't know. And I was just having this parallel adolescence.
You just were like, before we met, you were vibing with us, and you just knew out there somewhere we were watching this, and you were like, I gotta see it, though.
You know this is true, because I remember you telling me that when you met, that you said, because Matty and I, it's still around, but it's like functionally dead now. Matty and I used to have a side blog on Tumblr that was just a Hamlet side blog. Where we just didn't really post anything substantial, but, like photos and some, answering some questions.
Yeah.
And Matty and Ezra were paired as roommates in college. And I guess, Matty, you mentioned that you had this Hamlet side blog, and Ezra was like, I follow that blog.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I think that it came up like, oh, do you have a Tumblr? And we were like, of course I have a fucking Tumblr. And we were just talking about, like, oh, do we happen to follow each other? And it was like, oh, no, we don't. But, like, and I was like, I don't know, like, we have this, Helena and I have this side blog. And it was funny because Z and I, they did not email either, I'm sure we've told this story before, but I'm telling it again, either of us to let us know we had roommates. So I walked to my room and there's 2 beds, and I'm like, I wonder if they just, like, gave me a 2-bedroom by myself. Which, like, sick if true. And I set up my shit, and, like, I think I had something in the fridge. I left a note, like, hey, I don't know if I have a roommate, but if I do, like, please don't eat these. And I went to hang out with you, Helena. Like, I stayed overnight at your house.
Oh, that's so
and came
funny.
back to find a person in my room.
Yep. Yeah, and
I think actually you weren't there. I think you had made the other bed, and I was like, well, I guess there's another person, because I think you were hanging out with a high school friend of yours. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
I don't remember which person it was. And then I met them later that night, I think.
One of the Dylans, I think.
It was one of the Dylans. I think
had
they
2
came
friends
back
in
later that night, and I was like, I guess I'm meeting both of you for the first time. Very fun. And thus I know. Serendipitous, I would say.
Yeah. Kiss Bang Bang,
Yeah.
man, that was a movie,
I
as
know.
I said earlier, that, like, I, for some reason, had the script, the shooting script, You'll Never Die in This Town Again, as something that I bookmarked and read online. I was so interested in it. I was like, obsessed with it. Which is, like,
I feel like you still have that bookmarked somewhere, because sometimes when we watch that movie, you'll just be like, hey, do you want to see bits from the fucking script again? And I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. The little Perry there.
I do.
I mean, it's mostly just, like, I think I was, like, desperate for fan fiction, basically, and that was how I got my kick.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find any Kiss Kiss Bang Bang fan fiction on fanfiction.net, which was the place.
Oh, Lord.
Fanfiction.net.
Fanfiction.net.
That's where I went to read my Life as a Teenage Robot fanfiction as a young 12-year-old. That is not where one went to read Kiss Kiss Bang Bang fanfiction, and it still isn't, really.
No.
There is some on Archive of Your Own, but in the meantime, I was just like, you know, I have read the same.
I guess I'll just read the shooting script.
Yeah, that's good enough. There's some extra stuff in there, you know, about, like,
what's
going on, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I still love the original title was You'll Never Die in This Town Again. I think that's such a fucking slappity title.
Sure is, man.
Eliminate me. We've been talking for a while, and I don't know if we have any, like, actual real thoughts on 2 years of Sneople, or if we want to tack that on somewhere, or what do we want to do with that. I guess we could just be like, hey, stick around, thanks for being here for 2 years. Fucking batshit that we're the oldest podcast on the network now.
That's a big part of it.
That's nuts.
Thanks.
We beat all the others. We won. Other podcasts. Bummer to you.
Flattered that y'all are that people like to listen to this show. Like, that means a lot.
In the podcast Cornucopia, we got to the I don't fucking remember that part of the Hunger Games. This is not going to work as a joke.
I also don't.
But that's what we did with the podcast.
I remember the book Battle-Royale, and, like, 3 people make it off the island, so guess what? We're the ones who made it off!
Making it off the island. So this is, like, Lost is what you're saying. And so
no.
we are like the Kate and Sawyer of,
it's not.
Oh, it's not like Lost? Okay. I thought that Lost was the text of all, like, modern
of every Battle Royale?
No, of everything. Of art.
Oh. I mean, maybe. I wouldn't know.
It's all lost deep down.
Everything's
yeah,
lost.
that's kind of, when you kind of shake everything out, what's left is just lost. Yeah.
It's when, like, those videos going around last summer that were all fucking with us, where people would cut into the, like, box and it was a cake the whole time. It's like that, but it's lost.
But it's lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful sentiment about, like, sticking with us and actually listening to the podcast that was ruined by my
fucking lost.
Look now, okay, if we're talking about formative text, first of all, and second of all, it's almost been 9 years, so I feel like my brain is entitled to, like,
no.
go where
I
it's
think
gotta go.
You know, maybe
you
we
get
can
a pass, bud.
Yeah, we can talk next episode about like more. Maybe we'll do a mini episode or something about 2 years of Sneeple or whatever. But that was the main takeaway: is 2 years of Sneeple. We did it. We are the champions, and we won at podcasting, which is a thing you can do. So, yay us! Go team!
Go team!
Go team! Squad!
Go Ducks!
Fuck.
Any last thoughts? Any other? I like making a podcast with you guys. I'm glad that we all decided to become movie people and make a podcast about it, even though originally we weren't going to make a podcast. Ben was like, producer Ben, friend of the show, was like, when you guys originally pitched this to me, you were talking about how, like, maybe episode you would, like, change to, like, different kinds of media, and at the time I was like, I don't know about that. I was like, is that what we said? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, that was a stupid idea. And he was like, yeah, but I wasn't gonna tell you. I'm like, well, I'm glad we figured it out immediately because we're geniuses. So,
yep.
Good on us.
Good on us. I do remember that. Back in a time when you could meet with people in cafes in Northwest Portland and talk about the podcast.
Wild. And call Ezra on the speakerphone.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to say that, like, in the spirit of that, Ezra and I have both received our first shots of our vaccines.
Yep. Yahoo! Yeah.
So that is something.
And I'm in the next group, so.
Yeah, we're getting there. Like, I know that
we're getting there.
There's no such thing as, like, going back to normal, and that's not necessarily a thing where everything's going to magically get better. But I am looking forward to being able to be with people again.
Yeah. Next year in person.
Next year in person, everybody.
Also, I mean, I guess briefly just thinking about even, like, I think it's kind of cool that, like, speaking of in person, like, all three of us now live in different states.
Yeah, we do.
Which is kind of crazy and, like, very cool. In terms of, like, the way our lives are kind of spinning, specifically Helena, it's very cool that you now live in New York. But in New York. But sorry to New York listeners.
I'm not.
Helena,
okay.
Helena, you don't count.
I don't count, but also I have to say before you continue. I don't know.
I was just gonna say I it's cool that, like, this is not where we thought we would be 2 years from now, but we still have each other after all the shit that happened and, like, being all separated. We still get to have our little podcast and our little conversations, and I get to yell at Helena still at top volume, meaning that my waveform is fucked up every single episode.
Oh God, yeah.
I put bad things in the Google Doc. Yeah.
Yeah, I edit the episodes. I can do what I want.
This is true. I was gonna say today I did actually, on my way to work, go into an actual bodega with an actual bodega cat, who I tragically did not get to pet, and I got a coffee and a bagel, which I ate in front of the Presbyterian Church, which is across the street from my work. So today, I am officially a New Yorker. That's not true, but I get to agree what is
step one of becoming a New Yorker. You've met it.
Yeah. And also,
step two, I guess step one is moving there.
Step one is moving there. Step two is going to a bodega and meeting bodega cat. Third is saying, yes, because I have now gone into a bodega and met a bodega cat, I can say that my friend Ezra is allowed to make fun of New York in any way they want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And on that note, thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneeple at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake. Our theme music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. Check her out at bethanyluthold.wixsite.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or want to tell us your favorite Sneeple moment from the past 2 years, come say hello. Also, if you can, please leave a review on iTunes and share the show with any friends who you think would enjoy it. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.